Beat tutorial? I'm gonna beat tutorial. This is for Connor, so anyone else, it's just really it's a privilege for you to be here. So you're welcome. Hey Connor, it's me, your friend Anel. We're just gonna show you how to use little Fruity Loops, little FL Studio today. The background doesn't come with it. That's just courtesy of me. But here we go. I'm just gonna make a beat from scratch as I would, and I'm gonna kind of show you what I do and talk you through it, I guess. Guys, I'm just gonna reference this like I'm talking to Connor, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. Maybe I'll reach out occasionally. I'll probably reach out occasionally, so you're gonna have to bear with that, Connor. It's just everyone has to compromise. The top bar here, Connor, all of your like tools and stuff, if you can't see anything, they're all up here and you can resize them. So like your playlist is this main one. It's basically like your literally just your timeline, and then on the left side here, you know, you have like all of your kits and whatever, so like drum kits and all that kind of shit, plugins and whatnot. You know, this is like your main timeline. You got your mixer here, which I feel like is kind of self-explanatory, maybe not. Okay, I'm just gonna make a beat. I'm gonna tell you what I do. First off, I'm gonna delete the limiter because fuck a limiter, we ain't bitches. And then I'm gonna put a soft clipper on. You don't have to know what any of this is, or you can follow along at this point. This is just bullshit I do to the master chain, so it sounds a little bit better. I put a clipper on, which like makes everything louder and also prevents it from peaking. So fire, gas, lit. Sometimes you can start with drums. I did that lately and it was kind of cool. Or you can start with a motherfucking melody. But you're gonna want to install some plugins. It does come with packs already installed. If you go to packs down here, it's somewhere in this window. They come with some like instruments and shit like that. So you can use some of these instruments, or you could like sample shit. I don't know if you're planning on sampling shit, but you could use some of the built-in instruments. Like this is a piano. It sounds pretty good. So it's a piano roll. Again, all this other shit, if you are looking for tools, it's all at the top here. It's piano roll. You can open the piano roll, or you could right-click piano roll. Should make the most hard trap beat in the world. Okay. I'm gonna change the tempo down to 120 BPM because we're motherfucking trapping. This is gonna be hard, guys. I drew a pattern in the piano roll. You have all these patterns. I put the pattern in like the main timeline, okay? And this is where you're gonna draw all your shit. If you double click it, open it up, it'll open piano roll. You can fuck with it, do whatever. So in this like channel rack, this is where you put your drums and instruments and all that kind of stuff. Again, you can access it up here. It's the third one. You put the instruments here, so I drag whatever I want, onto this. From there, there's little numbers over here. That's like what track you're routing it to your mixer. So like if I drag this up to 1, the grand piano is now on mixer track 1, and you can rename that shit and whatever. The easiest thing to do is usually if you just click your plugin, Control L will like assign it to the mixer. So now it's on track 1. And if I want to add effects and EQs and all that bullshit, I can do that. Add a little reverb to this bitch. Usually cut the lows out with an EQ just so the 808 hits, know what I mean? So I'm gonna add a new pattern. I'm gonna put the new pattern below this dope ass track. You can obviously then just expand on the melody, do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. This one, Mixed Berries, that's what I was trying to talk to you about earlier. Mike Hector, Mixed Berries. This drum kit's fucking lit. You will really very much enjoy this one. I would very much use this one, and like the Ice Dancer drum kit is also fucking sick. All these are dope. Yeah, we're trapping in this bitch. So I usually always just drag my 808 to mixer track 8 because I'm a fucking lunatic, and that's just what I like to do. I always put the 808 on 8. So I put an EQ on that shit. Just drop down menu. You add whatever effects you want. Parametric EQ 2. The second one, so you can see like the hertz and shit of whatever you're fucking with. Some things you have to do with some drum kits is you click the 808, it'll bring up this little menu. Uncheck use loop points always. Right click the 808 and click cut itself. You always have to do that with 808 bass, okay? Just know that, because otherwise, if you don't cut itself, if I hit it twice, it'll just stack on itself. You have to cut itself so that when it plays a second time, it cuts itself off. I'm just gonna bass boost this motherfucker. And I'm gonna add some distortion because I'm a freak. I'm gonna add trappy motherfucking hi-hat. I always just uncheck loop points on every like drum piece I add. I'm just dragging it onto the mixer and then clicking it uncheck use loop points, because sometimes it'll like be on a loop by itself. It gets all messed up. So you can draw in here, draw my hi-hats, like, you know. You can go into the piano roll or whatever. You can right click for hi-hats. You can fill it 2 steps. So it just, and you can make whatever fucking pattern you want. Claps for trap always go in the same goddamn spot. Add whatever the fuck you want, your little open hats, some perks. You can right click, you can also audio editor, and you can just pull whatever the fuck you want. So like, if I didn't want the whole thing, I could just pull like a clip and then drag it into my thing, and now I have new sound. 808s, you would kind of have to double check that they're in tune, because sometimes they won't be. Right click the 808, edit an audio editor. This little thing, this little knob, detect pitch regions. It shows me, I'm ignoring that because that's like kind of the initial thing, but you see this C at the top. Okay, it's in C, it's in key, that's dope. If it wasn't, if it was in like B or something, you'd have to go into the 808, you'd have to go into this little tab, this instrument settings, and you'd have to change it to whatever key it's in. Okay, so it's in C, it's nice, but like if it was tuned to B, ta-da! You can right click and you can choose what key the 808's in. So you'd set it to whatever it's set to so that it matches, and it's in C. Again, I will go to my 808, right click the wave file, open an audio editor, detect pitch regions, it's in C, so I'm good. If it wasn't, I go to this tab, choose what it was in, like B or whatever the fuck. You've done that, you've cut your own 808, you routed it to motherfucking 8, or wherever you routed it, added a little EQ bass boost to that motherfucker, which you don't have to do, but I did it, and then you go to the piano roll and you can make that shit fucking crazy. A trick to make your 808 sound really hard too, that you might like, is if you add this plugin Blood Overdrive. It's pretty fucking sick. Just turn the preamp up, and you can turn the fuck with the color if you want, but what you really fucking came here for was to figure out how to make acapellas. I know. So to do that, so you can Google like acapella, that's seriously the best way. But if I were doing what you did and I couldn't, I would literally just Google like the song and then BPM, and you can find the BPM. You can double click. This is like whatever your actual song. There's this little drop down, this little arrow, the top left of the track. That'll give you all this drop down shit. And you can detect tempo. Doesn't usually work very well, so I probably wouldn't, but fit to tempo when you find out what the BPM is, and you type it in. So type in the BPM, 128, and it should conform it to now whatever tempo you have set. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't start at the right point, so you kind of have to set the right start point. Like this has a little gap in the beginning, so it's not perfectly on beat yet. I have to set it. I'll probably just, you know, find where the fucking vocals are and do that. I'm just gonna like cut it, use a little cut tool. You can drag too, but just to get it on the kick, so I know that is a beat, and then I would just drag that to my beat. And you have a tempo tapper too, or I mean a metronome right next to the actual tempo. I know plenty shit, but I don't never talk to that bitch. I'm not her ride. She gon' have to walk. So it's on time, and now it should conform to, even if I change the BPM, 216 like a fucking animal, a freak of nature. Take your thing, your track, you can double click it also in the top right to route it to a mixer track, or you can just double click it and again Control L, route it to a mixer track. Now you can add EQs and shit like that to make your acapella as best as you possibly can. Sorry guys, I'm totally ignoring chat, but it's not for you, it's for Connor. So in your mixer now that I have that routed to my mixer track, you go in and just start EQing the fuck out of it. Probably take a bunch of them. I'll usually take one, and you can play it so you can, thank you Jessica for the sub. EQ, start EQing your track. Oh my god, that was so fucking loud. You can turn it down in the mixer as well. It even tells you up top like bass and like sub, so you kind of have a reference of like where to go, but I would cut like 200 kilohertz at least, because that's kind of like where you're starting to get into sub range. Like kicks hit around 300 kilohertz, subs, you know, subs like 30s, you know, 40s. And then add EQs and just start EQing the fuck out of it until it kind of sounds where you want it. The hardest thing is going to be all the highs. Like the hi-hats and shit are going to be tough. The song that you linked me last night was like good. It'll be way easier than this shit because this is like so fucking crazy. But even this, as long as you cut the bass out and I cut a like, it's already going to sound better. And I'd usually add some more effects just to kind of smooth it out as well. So like you can add reverb, kind of smooths it out. But like let me play it with my beat now. It's probably going to sound fucking goofy, but the beat should probably overpower it. It's not in key. So you can change the pitch by going to the little pitch knob here. And I just have to kind of guess. You can go up or down. And it's every 100 cents is another key. Just make sure it's at an even 0 or it'll be not perfect.
I know plenty shit, but I don't never talk. Tell that bitch I'm not her ride. She gon' have to walk. I'ma get away, and I can't get caught. I'ma fuck her face, then mark her out. I know all these niggas wanna knock me out. I need to hit the top, and all they do is talk.
And you can just go crazy from here. And it's like not perfect, but that's the best you can do with just EQ and shit. So that's gonna make a basic ass beat, okay? I'm gonna play it one more time just for the fucking homies.
I know plenty shit, but I don't never talk. Tell that bitch I'm not her ride. She gon' have to walk. I'ma get away, and I can't get caught. I'ma fuck her face, then mark her off. I know all these niggas wanna knock me off. I ain't even hit the top, and all they do is talk.
Actually works surprisingly well, and it's funny because the amount of hi-hats that are in the original song make my beat sound way better.